Yes, we can, Russ.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right. Hey, thanks for being here for the lift today. I'm excited that Jaden Barr is here. We're going to be interviewing him in a little bit, but first we've got some of our usual front matter. Who has good news for Shout from the Summit? Good news or a thank you or anything that you want to share? You have to take yourself off mute first. Travis, go.
Yeah, it's hard because it just feels like nothing is especially good, but things are just good in general. You
Okay.
know, it's like I feel like, okay, my family and myself, we're at this point where been doing the grind, and things are just paying off. And it's not, yay, celebrate, fantastic, wonderful thing is happening. It just is all good.
Good. I love that. General good. Sounds awesome. Who else? Good news to share. Joan?
Um, the GoPro games are going on in Vale starting Thursday, and one of our own, Laura Sellards, has a booth there for. She's the president of the Warrior Dog Foundation to
Yeah.
raise money for retired warrior dogs, and she's flying in a bunch of retired Navy SEALs, and it's going to be quite a booth there in front of
Wow.
Garfunkel. So
That's very
anybody
cool. That's
wants
on Thursday?
starts Thursday, and she's there, I think, the whole week or the weekend.
That's very cool. Anyone else?
We're over here in Summit County. We are 3 days short from surviving another school year. So that's great news, sort of, because then the kids are home. Our weather has turned around and we're starting to see more people in the market and in the community. A lot of our open houses, especially last weekend, were very, very, very busy. I went over to one of the ones that Ann's team was holding about a block behind us, and it wasn't empty the whole time that we were there. So I would just say that we're starting to see more activity in our markets. And again, the people who continue to be really good at doing the boring things are doing really well with their business. So keep rocking and rolling.
Love that. All right. Thank you. Okay. We've got a few announcements that we want to share. Remember that we're doing Breakthrough 120 accountability groups. We're hosting those on Mondays and Thursdays, in person and on Zoom. Pro coaching with Katie every Tuesday, 1 o'clock, and contracts with Rod every Wednesday at 1:30. Charles and I continue doing the Mile High Market Brief. We do it on Monday. It's at noon, and then we upload the content to YouTube. You can just find me on YouTube or find the region on YouTube if you want to get that content. Yesterday, we talked about the Zillow Real Tracks compass issue and what happened over a couple weeks ago with MRED. So we covered Zillow. We talked about inventory in the state of Colorado and locally. We talked about buying property with family members and strangers, which seems to be a thing to help with the affordability challenges that we find in our area. And we also did a little bit of a deep dive on Clear Creek County. If you missed us 2 weeks ago, actually it was 3 weeks ago because of Memorial Day, we did a deep dive on Pitkin, Edwards, Summit, and Grand counties. So you can go back and check those and see what's happening in those areas. Next Thursday in Denver, we have the AI powered agent with Neil Dingra and Lauren Lucas. I'm going to be posting a video tomorrow afternoon, I believe, which is a conversation that I had with Lauren Lucas about this event and what she's going to be sharing from an AI perspective. We've got a number of cool things going on at that event. And, you don't have to know AI well in order to succeed with this event. We're going to be talking a lot about automation and efficiency. We're going to be talking about ways that AI can help you generate leads and we're going to be talking about ways that AI can help some of the back office things that you need to know. Neil Dingra, who is an absolute AI expert, he's going to be doing a keynote at the end of the day on what not to use AI for, which I think is actually just as important as what to use AI for, because I think we would all agree that we see people, please check your mute buttons. We see people who often use AI in a way that's inauthentic and only hurts their businesses. So Neil's going to be diving into that. On Friday, June 12th, the next day, we are bringing Lauren to the mountains. She's going to be teaching at the Altitude Board of Realtors from 10 to 1. And this will be a workshop. This workshop is going to require that you download some apps and free versions of some apps. And we're going to do a hands-on AI workshop. We're going to be talking about two topics with Lauren. Topic one is how to use AI specifically to get more leads in our communities. We're going to be looking at AI tools that can help you identify investment property owners, real estate trends, migration trends, and figure out where to target your efforts so that you have more leads. And then we're going to be specifically talking about some efficiency and automation tools. You'll leave this workshop feeling like you've got some homework to do, but also some materials that you can use immediately because you did it during the workshop. So don't miss that. It is free. It is open to all. And we would love for you to come and bring a friend, even one that is not with KW. Don't forget.
Real quick, Russ.
You can.
Real quick. Okay. So we've got like 23-ish participants plus groups in rooms here. And pretend like Russ isn't the regional director here for a second. I hear so many of you tell me that you don't want to come to these events because they're in Denver and you don't want to go to Denver. I get it. So the region has brought this event to Silverthorne and it is free. So if we want the region to do things like this again for us, we need to register. Right now, there's about 9 people registered and all of them except for 2 are from top of the Rockies. So if we can all go to this, scan, or Marielle, if you could throw the Eventbrite in the chat, if you can register today for this event, that would be great. Let's pack the Altitude Realtors house. Let's show them how awesome KW is. And let's also show the region that we want events up here in the mountains so that we don't have to go to Denver. If we don't get good participation from this event, I really doubt that the region's going to do things like this in the mountains as much again. So that's my soapbox. Please help us.
I appreciate you saying that, Leslie. And just to clarify something, this is not something the region is doing. This is something that we are doing for us.
Okay.
And so let's
show the region.
So I asked this speaker on this particular topic if she, for a very small, reasonable fee, would give us one overnight and one day. She'll drive herself there and back to the airport. Because I feel like the topic's important, and it does go to what Leslie said when we hear from you often that you don't want to drive to Denver. So all you have to do is drive to Silverthorne. So hope you'll be there. And to Leslie's point, we want to see if bringing speakers out to our area is worth the time and effort, because it's a lot of effort. We're going to be in Aspen for the in-person speaker series for luxury. If you have questions about what this is, please shoot me a text and we will get you the information. Whoops. Simon Sinek is going to be our keynote speaker at MegaCamp. This is really exciting. If you remember, Simon Sinek was supposed to be the keynote speaker in February of 2020 at Family Reunion, and he got COVID before anybody knew what COVID was. And so he was unable to fly across the pond to join us in Dallas. And so we've finally found a time that works. And so Simon Sinek is going to be in San Antonio for MegaCamp. He will be speaking on Wednesday, which is to close out the agent portion of the conference. And we hope you will consider coming. next week on this call, I'm going to do a little presentation on The Infinite Game, which is a book that Simon wrote. It's what he was going to speak on 5 years ago or 6 years ago now. Is it 6 years ago? Yeah, 6 years ago when he came. The Infinite Game is a great read, and you don't have to read it because I'm going to teach it to you next Tuesday during the lift. Don't miss. I want to recognize 5 cappers from Summit County: Jennifer Chambers, Carrie George, Elizabeth Hernandez, Trenton Ming, capped in his first few months as a realtor, and June Lemmings. Great job, all. And from Vale, Marla. Congrats, Marla. I can see you right in the middle of my screen. Good job. All right. So I'm excited that Jaden Barr's here. I found a picture from like 5 years ago of him. And Jaden is an agent in St. Louis, Missouri, and newer kind of ish to the business. Can we spotlight him, please? Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Spotlight Russ. All right, there we go. So, Jaden, thanks for being on the call today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you, Russ, for having me on today. I just want to give a shout out to Russ for everybody on the call. I'm sure you know how amazing of a leader he is, but Russ is a person that I deeply admire and really, really respect. So to be asked to be on this call was a huge honor. So thank you, Russ.
I'll Venmo you
Yeah.
$20. Go ahead.
There you go. Yeah, he definitely paid me to say that. So I mean, a little bit about me. I'm a believer. Dad to 2 awesome kids. My daughter, her name is Palmer. She just turned 2, and her personality is larger than life right now. It's insane. And then I've got a son. He's 7 months old. His name is Baker. Married to my wife Rachel. We just celebrated our 6-year wedding anniversary, which is time's flying. We're having fun. So yeah, we're in the thick of it with 2 kids right now, and life is awesome. Love to golf. Former Division II college quarterback, so a lot of my life lessons come from athletics and my time, being an athlete, and the lessons that sports has taught me that have been applicable to my career in business so far. And yeah, now I'm a real estate agent, been licensed for 6 years, and been on the leadership side for about 2.5.
Awesome. So, Jaden, talk to us a little bit about your real estate business. And you've built a business that is a relationship-based business, and you're a transplant to the current market where you're in. You didn't grow up there. So, talk to us about why you're focusing on database and rather than chasing new lead generation tactics.
Yeah, so like you said, I moved to St. Louis in 2020, and so it was also COVID year, right? And so you couldn't really get out and meet people. And one thing about St. Louis, if you ever come here, you're guaranteed to be asked the question, what high school did you go to? Right? It is a very, I would say, uh, niche. People can really put you in a box if they ask you that question, right? So
That
I'm
is an
very,
innocuous question that actually is super snooty, right? What high
yeah.
school did you go to? What we're saying is, are you rich or poor, or did you grow up in the right part of town or the wrong part of town? We're also asking you your religion and
All
socioeconomic
the things.
background. It's a terrible
All the
question.
things, all the things. So I'm very grateful that having moved here and didn't not growing up here, I didn't have to answer that question, right? So
Yeah.
kind of went into conversations with a blank slate, I feel like, and I quickly realized, the more people I talk to, the more people I get into relationship with, the bigger my business is going to get. And so really, I just focused on what groups or communities am I already involved in that I can be the go-to real estate expert in. So whether that was, church, the gym, pickleball, golf, whatever it was, I was really just trying to add value to the people in those communities that I already enjoyed being around. One thing that I've found is it's really exhausting to try to convince people how great of a real estate agent you are that have no idea who you are. So when
Right.
you're in relationship with people, they already know your reputation, they know your personality, they know that you're good at what you do, and that trust is already there. And so you don't have to convince them that you're a solid agent. They already
Yeah.
know that.
So you're new to St. Louis, and you think, well, I need to start building a database in order for me to have somebody to sell houses to and get referrals from. And it sounds like you looked at, what am I currently doing? Who am I doing it with? What organizations am I part of? And you start compiling the database from there.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep. And then it was really just consistency with the activities. So had a goal of having 75 real estate conversations a week. And at the time I was 23 years old. A lot of my college network is from St. Louis. And so I was reaching out to people that I went to school with, and building relationships that way. One thing that I quickly realized is that people my age did not talk on the phone. So why the heck would I call them at Tuesday at 10 a.m. Right? A lot of
Right.
my lead generation was texting or DMs on social media, and that was just kind of meeting people where they're at. Right? I mean, if my friends from college aren't going to pick up the phone on Tuesday at 10 a.m., but they'll respond to a text, then that's my outreach.
Yeah. So you mentioned social media. I follow you on social media and I see you doing a lot of things there. So how does social media fit into um, your lead gen plan?
Really is a challenge from my coach. Anybody on the call guilty of doom scrolling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some hands going up. Okay. If your hand wasn't up, you're just not being honest. Okay. So
Right.
I doom scroll with the best of them. But really I wanted to use social media as a platform to create rather than consume. And some days I'm better than others, but really just a challenge for my coach of, being more present on social media. And really, I just want to be establish a form of relatability with the people that I follow and people that follow me. And so you're going to see who I am, what I'm about through following me on social media. And eventually, you know, I think that's kind of what's led to the business growth this year. I'm on pace to double my business in 2026 compared to 2025. And I think a big part of that is just the consistency with which I've shown up on social, and really creating content around my pillars, which is faith, family, fitness, business, and leadership, and golf.
Yeah. So, so when I see you on social media, I notice that a few different types of posts. You'll do like the standard realtor, you know, like holding the sign. I just closed a deal with these people, and you always have a lender there, I noticed, or you often have a lender there. So you're helping another business person. I see those. I see you showing new listings or existing inventory in sort of a creative way with some pretty cool video effects and things like that. And then I see a lot of family stuff and Palmer just,
Just living.
yeah, just living stuff. So talk to me about what you when you think about what am I going to post this week? Like where's your brain going?
So I actually have a folder on my Instagram app, and as I'm doom scrolling, I'm coming across posts that either make me chuckle or I think, oh, that's a great idea. And so I save that post and then I add it to the folder of the pillar that it fits under, right? And so each
Hmm.
week I'm trying to make 5 reels, a reel per weekday. It takes less than 30 minutes if you plan it out properly to film, edit, and schedule your posts. And really, whenever I'm thinking of, oh, I need something to post that's related to family, I go to that folder and I pull an idea, rip off and duplicate, and then it's on my social media for that week. So I typically have a time block of 30 minutes on Monday to create the content and schedule it, and um, then I'm set for the rest of the week.
All right. So you've got a system here. When you're doom scrolling and you see something that fits into family bucket, you stick it into the folder and that's going to inspire you the next time you're trying to ideate for a family piece. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And same for fitness, same for golf. By the way, I did see I did see something when I was trying to find a picture of you of Tim Tebow throwing you in a lake.
Yeah,
Is that
check that out on my
that's a
podcast.
real video or was that AI generated?
It's real. It's real. It
That's
was at his celebrity golf fundraiser down in Jacksonville, Florida at TPC Sawgrass, hole 17, the Island Green, and he was calling people out of the crowd to take a shot, and craziest shot of my life. It's 1 for 1.
Yeah, and he literally picked you up. He's a big man. He picked you up, and you both ended up in the lake. That's pretty cool. Um, so you and then do you batch all the content? Like, do you work on it one section of time, and then you just spread it out for the week?
Ideally, I mean, I'd like to say I'm perfect with that, but by no means am I. There's other weeks where it's more shooting from the hip, and I'm like, shoot, I don't have a post for today. I gotta film a 6-second clip of Palmer playing at her water table, or
Right.
riding her bike or whatever it is, right? So um, there's no shortage of family content. That's
Yeah.
just
I get that. Walk us through how you stay in touch with your database. So you're doing these posts, and a lot of what these posts are doing is they're keeping people in your database aware of you, and you can't really count how many hits you're getting from them. But what else are you doing to stay in front of your database?
Yeah, I think using social to be social. So if you see somebody that just had a life event, like sending them something, or commenting on their posts, commenting, on what's going on in their world. So that's how I use social media to actually count the conversations, as opposed to just relying on them probably seeing my posts at some point. As far as lead generation and how I'm staying in touch with them. I've got a monthly newsletter. I just hired a director of operations, so she's actually cleaning up a lot of my systems and making sure that we're staying in touch with them through like 36 touch system that the MREA teaches, and it quarterly text check in. I've got a list of the DTD2 that's super simple, and then a
For
couple.
those who don't know what that stands for and what that is, can you please say it?
Yeah, so DTD2, basically alphabet is 26 letters. There's 13 weeks a quarter. So if you do 2 letters a week, take people's last names. So say the first week is A and W. So Tim Allen and Martha White would be contacted in week 1, right?
Right.
And then the next week it's a new set of 2 letters. So
And I think you said you're texting your DTD2. You are not calling your DTD2.
yeah, usually it's text. Yeah.
And is that simply, as you mentioned earlier, because of the age and stage of these people and the way they want to be communicated with? Or, I mean, are you texting a 65-year-old person in your database as well?
It depends. I mean, it's tricky, Russ, because like I'm on the leadership side, right? So my time is very limited. So it's how can I have a valuable touch in the shortest amount of time, and that is typically via text.
Right. Got it. So when you text through your list, by the way, how many people would you say are in the database in terms of like they're getting all the stuff? You're staying very in touch with them. You have all of their information, name, email, phone number, all that stuff. Like how many people are in that group?
About 450.
Got it. And how many closings will you have this year?
I'll have. I'm on track to hit 48.
48. So about 10%
Mhm.
return. That's really good. Are you using Command just out of curiosity? And you can answer truthfully.
I am.
You are using Command. Fascinating. Um, just by the way, we didn't set this up. Why? Why are you using Command?
It's free, and
It's not free,
the
but it's
the
included.
the best database is the one you use. So
So, okay, what parts of Command are you using as far as staying in touch with people?
home anniversaries, birthday smart plans, neighborhood nurture, my monthly newsletter. I've got everyone tagged for that. Uh, I'm
So
sure I
you're
have.
putting your monthly newsletter into command and you are sending it to 450 people once a month.
Mhm.
And you're sending them a once a month neighborhood nurture or twice a month.
Mhm. Um,
You probably
once,
don't know.
I probably don't know.
Right.
Ask my director of ops.
Right. And then you load in their home anniversary and that does something every year, I guess, and probably prompts you to make a call. Um, okay, so you're using it at a high level. Do you use the texting feature in it?
I do not.
So when you need to text your people on a quarterly basis, what tool are you using for that? I mean, or is it just your phone?
I have the Reach app, so I can categorize groups in there. So I'll have like my VIPs, past clients, golf group, right? If I'm inviting to specific events, then I've
Uh-huh.
kind of got my database categorized there.
So is your database there in the 13 different letters of the alphabet groups? Like, are you doing that?
They are not. No, no. So my director of ops is sending me that list at the beginning of each week.
Got it. And then that's a manual thing.
Mhm.
But are you cutting and pasting the same message over and over again?
It depends. I mean, a lot of people. It just depends on who it is. Like, some people you'll come across some. You're like, oh, I talked with them last week. I saw them at the Cardinals game, or I worked out with this person this week. So it's more so just whatever the message fits. I do
Got it.
see a question here. Reach does show blue bubbles. Yeah, it texts just like a normal iMessage.
So for those who don't know, Reach is an app. I think it's a Mac only app, but there's Android versions. And what it does is, unlike um, Twilio, which will send out one text at a time to a large group, but it uses a different phone number. Reach is really just a tool that sets up the text. And like if Jaden wants to send the same text to 100 people, it uses his native texting app. It sets it up, and then he just has to click the arrow, go 100 times. And it's a pretty awesome tool because it is coming from your phone number. It's not like a spammy type phone number that's fake. It's a real one. And by the way, I have all of you in mind. So sometimes if you get a text from me that says, Joan, don't forget the meeting today, that might be a reach thing. And the only challenge you have to make to note with it is if you use it to send out the same text 100 times, you might get blacklisted by Apple, which has happened to me before. So be careful with it. But it's a
Me
good
as
tool.
well.
Huh?
Me as well.
Yeah. Um, so you mentioned you just recently welcomed a new child into your world, and you and Rachel have Palmer and Baker. How's becoming a father and a husband influence the way you think about your business and maybe like the way you're lead generating?
I think, I mean, in real estate, business is a lot more fun whenever you're serving clients that you enjoy being around, right? So you want to work with people that give you energy, not take energy from you. And so, naturally at this stage of life with, young kids, it's like, well, I want to work with young families, right? And so that's been kind of a shift in like our I guess messaging across the business.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to like my view of success now as opposed to 3 years ago when we didn't have kids, I think
Mhm.
right now I'm finding the margin, right, of how can I just buy back or find an hour a week, 2 hours a week. So everything I'm focused on now is about getting more time back because time is precious right now. And so I want to do everything that I can to be a present dad, present husband, and be really intentional so that my family's getting my best energy, not my leftovers. So
Yeah.
it's really just finding the margin in the day and making sure that um, my week's set up for success, that I'm home on the nights and the weekends. And I just hired two showing agents And so I really don't show property for buyer clients now. And that's been the best investment that I've ever made.
I guess I should mention this. You said it and I heard it, but I think the rest of the group didn't interpret this. You're going to sell 48 homes this year, but you're also a team leader, like a KW team leader, and you have about 350 people in your office, something like that.
Mhm.
So the 48 homes is kind of your side hustle.
Correct.
Yeah. At least that's what you tell your OP, right? So that kind of brings an interesting point. Like to me, you've got a database of 450 people. They got to get texted every quarter. They've got to get emailed constantly. You're staying in touch with them at a high level. You're making content. You're managing a very large real estate office. And you're doing listing appointments. Gotten rid of the buy side of it a little bit. How do you balance all of this?
I think it starts with communication with my wife, first, right? Just looking at the week ahead and just the season that we're in. I think when we haven't communicated well, that's when, you know, things feel out of sorts. But whenever we are on the same page and, I'm going through the week ahead and appointments that I have and, this night I'm going to be home late. I think it starts with communication, and then two is, finding leverage before you really need it, right? You don't want to hire out of pain. And so if you envision your business to grow, which I'm sure everybody on this call has that expectation for themselves, you're one of the best lines I heard, and it was at Mega Camp this year, was you're not making the hire expecting your business to go backwards. So if you're scared of making the hire or scared of making the investment in your business, you should really reframe that and, obviously have the funds set aside, the rainy day fund and things like that, and be a responsible business owner. But also know that, hey, this hire, this investment in the business, it should have a return on the investment. It's not just an expense, it's an investment, and you expect investments to have a return.
Yeah. Jade, you said you played Division II football. You were the captain of your team. I wonder how that leadership experience influences you as a business person today.
Yeah. So like Russ said, I played at Truman State, which is a small college in Northeast Missouri that none of you have ever heard of. And some of
I've
my
heard of Truman.
yeah, some of my greatest life lessons come from my time spent there and in college athletics. And uh, I think the one thing that was probably the biggest lesson is that people take a lot more. You earn the respect from others by what you do, not what you say, right? So be a doer, right? Follow through on what you say you're going to do, and you're going to learn a lot more about yourself through the difficult seasons than the um, the the rose seasons, right? I came in my freshman year, was conference player of the year. We won conference for the first time in 30 years. It was a huge success, right? And so I'm set up for this awesome just career, right? Freshman year was this good. I can't wait to see what the rest of the career looks like, right? Sophomore season, I have a pulled groin week 1, sprained MCL week 2, stitches in my throwing hand week 3, AC joint in my throwing shoulder week 4, and it's just a disaster. I'm just gutting through the season, and I can't wait for it to be over. But that season taught me more about myself, and how do you show up day in and day out when things aren't great, when things aren't going your way, when the ball's not bouncing your way. Can you be the same person day in and day out, and show up with consistency and do what you say you're going to do and lead well in the hard seasons? Um, that that really set up the rest of my career. I would say that sophomore and junior slump.
Yeah.
And that's uh, applicable to business, right? Because it's not every day is great. Not every year is great. You might have a terrible year in real estate, but the great thing about this business is that nobody cares, right? You can drastically change the trajectory of your business with one relationship or one deal that turns into 10 referrals, or the work you do today shows up 90 days from now. And so do the work today, and no matter where you're at in your business, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. I mean, the reality that it's more important what you do than what you say. Like it's so important in real estate, because we're in an industry where there's a lot of people that make promises that they never keep, and it damages their credibility and frankly ours forever. Final question for you, Jaden. What advice would you give to an agent who like you, wants to build a business around database, around relationships, rather than around chasing the next transaction?
I had an answer for this question, Russ, but I'm going to actually pivot. I think you look at yourself and ask yourself, am I someone that another person would want to be in a relationship with? Right? Do you bring value to conversations? Do you bring value to relationships? Are you a trustworthy person? Are you a person that acts with integrity? Are you just nice? Right? I heard an agent's one of their value propositions was, I'm a nice person. We need more nice agents. Some people that are enjoyable to be around, enjoyable to work with, and do deals with. And then I think look at the communities of people that you're already involved in, communities that already know, like, and trust you, and that you enjoy being around. Because the more fun you can make lead generation, the more fun your business is going to be. Like,
yeah,
there are people that enjoy cold calling and calling expireds, and I'm sure those are great ways to do business. It's not fun for me, right? And so I want to have fun working. And that's
yeah.
what I found.
That is a choice for some people. It gets harder and harder though with TCPA and other challenges. Like, why not be nice and call people that know you, like you, and trust you? Travis just held up a sign or a book that says, what did it say, Travis? Work hard and be nice to people. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Jaden, we appreciate you being here today. Thank you all for being on this call. And Jaden, we appreciate you sharing your talents with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Russ.
All right. Y'all have a great week. See you next week for a summary of the Infinite Game. I think you're going to love this. Take care, everybody.